Coach, coming out of the draft, it seems like, you were the big winner. You got the majority of the picks on offense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you know exactly how it's going to play out, but I know just looking at our board and, obviously I'm focused on the offensive side, but I have a decent feel of what we're looking for defensively as well. And just kind of fell that way. The guys that we were targeting just happened to be on the offensive side when our picks fell, So really excited. I think we added some really good players to our team. So happy to get these guys in here and start getting them to compete.
Coach Rivera said that the draft plan changed a lot when you brought in Carson Wentz, and kind of the focus change. How much did that actually change maybe what you were wanting to target in the draft had you not had Carson?
Well, I think, when we didn't have Carson, only, Taylor being the only quarterback on the roster, we were looking to obviously add a quarterback. That was a priority. Once we added Carson, now it's kind of, hey, what can we get around this guy to make us, as good as possible offensively and help him be successful while playing. So, we spent a lot of time before the trade, looking at the different quarterbacks, and then all of a sudden we made the trade, and that's what you're saying, everything shifted.
I haven't had the chance to kind of ask you about him in particular, but what is it about what Carson offers that will allow you to do what you want with your offense?
Well, Carson, has had a lot of success in the league. Obviously, he's been on a few teams. He's just a big physical guy. He can really push the ball down the field. He's a pretty good runner. He doesn't play that way, but he'll scramble. And like I said, he has physicality and toughness. Now, sometimes you don't want him to take as many of the hits he does take, but just the ability to kind of push the ball down the field and spread it out across the field is what's really going to help us.
He has that arm. I know that's something you really want to be able to stretch the field and take advantage of the speed that you have at receiver as well. And you go and you add more to the receiving room. Yeah. What is it about Dotson? Because a lot of people thought at 11, this was a class for wide receivers.
Right.
But there are a lot of guys there that you could have taken, and you chose to move back for Dotson in particular. Why him?
Very early in the process, Jahan was someone that we targeted, that we wanted to have, felt like we would really like having him on our team. You talk about someone that started 32 straight games at Penn State, so he's always available, highly productive. Really not, I don't want to speak bad about his team, but, he was really, kind of the guy, and the focus was always on him, and his production never wavered, people talk about his size, 5'11", 178 pounds, but he has a really good body control, really good catch radius, and great ball skills. He's a hands catcher, so he's able to play a lot bigger than maybe what his measurable are, his size. He's a very easy person to throw to. You look at his 2 games against Ohio State, the last 2 years, one of the better teams, against high talent, and I think he had close to 290 yards receiving in those 2 games combined, and I'm pretty sure they were trying to stop him. So you look at a guy like that with the versatility. He's a great person, everything that we've heard and talked to him, and then just also the fact that he's available, the 32 straight games, that's big, and played a lot of different spots, moved him around, and he'll be able to do that in our offense as well. And it's exciting when you add a player like that to the mix of what we already feel like is kind of an up-and-coming group to begin with.
How exciting is it for you to, let's say you get Curtis Samuel back healthy, Terry McLaurin, 1,000-yard receiver, Logan Thomas back healthy, the weapons that you'll now have to be able to use.
No, absolutely. And, Curtis has been really good in the offseason program so far, and he's excited. And I think he's just got the weight of that injury off his back, and it's just not nagging. And so really excited to get him rolling. And then even like a guy like you didn't mention, like Dearmi Brown. Dearmi was a rookie last year, and it's young to just it's hard to just come in this league right away. And I think with the year under his belt, and he made some plays later in the season, and I think he's ready to take that next step too. So we're welcoming the competition in the group, and guys are going to be fighting to try to get touches, and that's what you want.
Only one ball to go around.
Absolutely.
It's yours to decide how you draw up those plays
not always. Not always just me. The defense dictates a little bit of that too. But it's good to have a lot of good weapons out there where you don't care where it ends up.
And you add a running back in Brian Robinson Jr. What did you like about him and what he's going to add to that room?
He brings a little bit of an edge and physicality. He's got an interesting story where obviously he's at Alabama. He's from there. He's from Tuscaloosa. Went to Alabama, and he sat behind some really good players, and so there's not as much, where, as a normal back, that 4 years or 3 years of that. So he's a little bit fresher. But last year, he got his opportunity and he made the most of it. And he's a physical runner. He makes guys tackle him. He does, that's not all he is. I think everyone just talks about a pounder, but he's elusive and he can run away from you. But he has that edge of that physicality and kind of that ball carrier mentality, where he wants the ball. And I think he's going to provide, some good competition as well. Obviously, we're really happy with Antonio being a 1,000-yard rusher, for the first time last season, and he's growing into the position as well, going into his third year playing running back for the full time, and last year being a 1,000-yard rusher. But just to add to that room with him and JD and JP and all those guys as well. But his toughness, his physicality, he's a very serious guy too. So that'll be good. That'll be good to add.
He is tough to take down. I can imagine him being somebody that, might take a load off of AG. I feel like we've asked a lot of Antonio transitioning to the role of running back. Does it change how you potentially use Gibson?
No, I mean, maybe, like we've done a lot with Antonio, maybe it just opens us up to maybe do a little bit more, moving him around. But we've done some of that already. Obviously, we have JD that does a lot of that. I think Antonio, his role was going to continue to grow anyways, regardless, just as he matures in this league and at the position.
Talk about somebody else who's going to be fighting for the ball as well. You got a tight end, Cole Turner. Apologies
no
there
relation,
for him.
no
relation. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, how do you see him coming in, and when he can come in to be a part of your offense? I mean, with 2 tight end sets, give you a lot of options with this.
No, absolutely. He's a guy that really was a receiver, came to Nevada, moved into a tight end, but he really still played more of a receiver type role. He led their team in targets at least the last 2 seasons, and was highly productive. Really a big guy. We had the opportunity to go work him out, and what he showed is just that catch radius, where he can adjust, he can go get the ball up over his head, he can lay off for it, adjust behind him, and he just has a feel for running routes, because that's what he did. So he did a lot of it. He's going to have some growth to do with some of the other aspects of playing tight end. Yeah, a little bit, but I mean, and you can choose what you do with these guys as well. But if you play tight end, you are going to be asked to block some. But he brings a guy that can get down the field, and he's a big target.
Yeah, you're really cleaning up here on some choices you have on offense to be able to get the ball to. But you did also get an offensive lineman too.
Yes.
In Chris Paul. And it's important to make sure, as we mentioned, that Carson is protected.
Yes.
Where do you see him fitting in, and how quickly?
I think he's just a guy. He's played tackle, he's played guard, and I think he's a guy that's just going to compete, and really try to learn. And he's a later round draft pick, but I just see him competing with the group, and we'll see where he fits the best. Coach Matsko does a great job of moving those guys around and kind of cross-training them, and it gives us an opportunity to, number one, see what they can handle mentally, and then number two, just to kind of see where their best fit is as a player, and we'll see how he handles it, and then kind of see how it goes from there.
I know we say there's really no expectations because you weren't anticipating getting a quarterback with Sam Howell coming in here.
Right.
How much, though, will you, when you do go through like training camp and off season, kind of, how do you divvy up, okay, Carson's our guy, but we need to bring Sam along? Like, is there a balance in that development without the expectation? Yeah,
it's pretty easy in training camp because you have a 90-man roster. So normally you're repping 3 groups. So, Carson, Taylor, and Sam will each have their own group, and then based on, how guys do, you maybe give them an opportunity with the other group. But for the beginning or whatever, we're just going to get Sam in. I mean, the other thing, we like him. Obviously, we like him a lot. We had him graded high. We're really surprised he dropped to where he did. We were happy to get him. But he's a young guy. He only spent 3 years in college. He's only 21 years old. So this is an opportunity for him to come in and learn how to play behind, 2 quarterbacks that have played significant amount of time in the NFL. And then, however he does, that'll dictate, kind of where it goes. He'll get opportunities, and, I've said this before, but, how you do with those opportunities dictates the next opportunity that you get.
Where are you in your comfort level?
I'm very comfortable.
Yeah.
No, I'm excited. I'm excited about our team. I'm excited about the guys that have been here. We've had great sessions in phase 2 on the field these last couple days. I guess we've had 3 days now. And just being able to work with these guys again has been great. And we hit the ground running. It's like these guys, it's like we never left. I mean, these guys have done an outstanding job of retaining. Our coach has done a nice job of working our installs, and it's stuff that we've done in the past. And I'm excited to add these guys to the group. But really, what I'm most excited about is just the guys that we've had already on this roster and their growth going forward, and where we can grow as a team.
It's been quite an undertaking since you came here, now going into year 3 with head coach Ron Rivera and you coming in with the offense. And coaches said it takes 3 to 5 years to really kind of turn the team around. And now with Carson, there's an urgency.
Yeah.
Do your guys feel that, okay, this is our time, our year? It's like.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's hard. I mean, there's always an urgency when you're in it. Like, there's a lot of games last year that we felt like we should have won, and we were really upset when we didn't. And it wasn't like, well, it's only year 2, So, I mean, I feel like we always feel that. I feel like our guys have just, they've learned in our system, they've developed in our system, and the comfort levels there, like you've talked about, with myself, but also just with the team, and they know what our expectations are. And guys want to not only meet but exceed those. And I think that's what the fun part of it is. And then again, just continuing to add good players and fight with the competition. And these guys, they understand they're competing with each other for playing time, but they got great relationships too. And it's a good group of guys to work with.
All right, looking forward to seeing the product on the field. It's time to go. The roster's getting closer to being set. Thank
Awesome.
you, Coach.
Thank you.
All right.